Well, let's maybe take a peek at our options here. Then we can decide where we want to go. I wouldn't mind gnolls. It's been a while since we had them in our Great Player series. No Wanderer is fun. Hey, that's all the shove I need. Sounds fantastic to me. Let's try it out. And we'll definitely go Wanderer and see where that leaves us. So okay, we begin with a hunting sling, a +2 buckler, not bad, sling bullets, +0 cloak, and leather armor. So no melee weapons, so we'll try and get one of those right away. We'll definitely want to be picking up all of the stones we can. Perfect, already on for auto pickup. I might as well grab throwing stuff while we're here, and as always, all of the evocables can get in. And right, no skill training. That's the beauty of it all. I guess I should maybe take a peek at where we start off. Dodging at 10.3 is wild. In fact, we get dodging, a little bit of shields, and a bit of slings. And that's it. That's pretty wild. Let's see if we can't turn starting with 16 evasion into something beautiful. And give this a go here. Good old college try. Now that is the exact kind of enemy that makes me want to find some stones right away, because if we mulch any of our sling bullets on something as simple as that, I'm going to feel very foolish. Let's see, our sling is A, so let's change our dagger to B, so we at least have that as another potential option for these easier fights. I say as we actually struggle a little bit with just a little goblin pal. There we go. Quokkas get extra special treatment just because I've fallen prey to a D1 Quokka before. And never again, we told ourselves, never again. Jackals we should be able to just fight. Might be a little bit tough, but we're dodging a lot of the attacks ideally. In fact, if we take a look, what's the number looking like there? Only a 22% chance to hit us is pretty spectacular for one of the dungeon. I'll take it. And let's ignore the jackal for now. Take care of the Quokka. Perfect. And then we just tap. Not learning any mistakes from how our poor genie just died, and instead just continuing to dive headfirst in each and every problem. Just spam them. 16 evasion is pretty good for D1. Ridiculously good, yeah. Not many characters can say the same for starting out on their journey. Though it's not exactly my favorite defensive start, because sure, it's extremely good relatively, but can still just roll badly a few times in a row, and that's going to be the end for you. So we find an Orb of Energy, so let's check this out. We've only ever seen an Orb of Guile so far in the new version, so I'm excited about each of these still. Of Energy, it occasionally powers its wielder's spells, but with a chance of causing confusion or draining the wielder's intelligence. Interesting. As you train evocations, it's less likely to backfire, and more likely to activate. Okay, I thought it was going to be, when I heard a little bit about Orb of Energy, I thought it was going to be something like Staff of Mukadwu, or even there used to be an evocable orb that was just a channeling source where you could gain magic points back from it, but very much like this one here, it had the chance of confusing you. But instead it seems to be just a passive thing that can proc on any spellcast, so that's pretty wild. Don't know if we'll be seeing it on this character too much, but always have our options open as a gnoll. You really never know what you're going to end up doing throughout the course of an entire run. So we just have 2 stones. Just 2 stones? We must have just picked those up after someone tossed them at us, right? And it did look like they were on pickup. They are. Huh. Normally you don't get through the majority of floor 1 of the dungeon without finding any stones. I guess we'll take it. Well, we will be training Evo, whether you want it or not. Exactly. The future is bright and wide open. Who knows what we'll see ourselves doing into those future days. And we get our first attribute. So if we want to be casting spells at any stage, probably go Intelligence. I'm tempted to just go pure Dex and kind of go with a Dexterity-based melee build here. Ideally, we'll get some good armor so we can have some half-decent evasion to back that up as well, not find ourselves in the exact same scenario that we just did on the Genie, maybe slightly more defensively capable if possible. For the first one at least, we can go with Dexterity, and then seeing what the rest of the dungeon throws at us, we can always mix it up. Orb of Energy and Staff of Wukadmu always feel too dangerous to you. It's definitely fair. I mean, if you're going through like a giant ziggurat and you're able to kill everything kind of before it gets to the chance to injure you, it's usually worth the exchange just because the sheer amount of damage output you put down just by using that to replenish your magic and then keep blasting with level 9 spells over and over again kind of works out, but never isn't a little bit frightening for sure. Okie dokie, let's immediately replace our old sling with the freezing one. Fantastic. That should be very helpful. Moving forward, we're up to 19 stones now. How about that? So pretty soon here I can fairly safely switch over to my my sling a bit more semi-permanently. But not in a huge rush. I guess we must have missed some kind of weapon on the floor above, right? It wasn't just daggers, so we can check on this floor first. Just a dagger. We head back up. All right, quite a maze. Forgot about that. Let's do the same. Oh no, just a club, which is not better than a dagger in my mind. Interesting. So I guess we have to hope for a better weapon as we move forward here. I mean, obviously something like an artifact would be absolutely incredible. But whatever the game is happy to hand us. Do you have a short sword? That looks like a short sword, my friend. Let's make sure to quiver our stones so we again don't mulch too many of these, and I will take a short sword. Thank you. Up to 43 stones means that I will be a little more judicious with handing those out to our enemies left and right here. Perfect. You found a Gozag altar on D2. You don't really like their playstyle, but you know it's too good to pass. I mean, definitely if you're talking to me. I absolutely adore Gozag, and very much so find that they give me my best odds of surviving a run. That's not to say that it's a one-size-fits-all solution, because it does depend on your own playstyle and kind of what you're comfortable with. Never feel too pressured to go with something just because certain players find it to be, you know, like an obvious choice, because it all depends on who's having to pilot the character. And there we go, the majority of our skills hitting their first level, not too bad. I should actually probably quickly pop in here, and I do want to change our short sword to B, so that is what we swap to. And speaking of D2 altars there, do I want to go Faded? On the Genie, it gave us Okawaru, which is exactly who we were hoping for. I would kind of want Oka again. I absolutely adore Okawaru on Knolls, just because you, much more than any other character, can truly take advantage of heroism stats across the board using whatever weapon you want and just have fun with it. I'm trying to think of who else we might possibly get that would be fantastic or more relevant to maybe think about. Are there any gods that would completely ruin the run for me? And I don't think there are. Even Zom is kind of their own level of fun, can oftentimes put you in a pretty decent position. I mean, the only character that we won with last tournament was a Zom follower, so maybe, just maybe, it's my secret to success. Actual strong runs guaranteed gonna pilot them into the ground. No God for Trog. We could Colgate, but I'm tempted to not worry too much about that banner, and instead, again, just try and go through this at a decent clip. Because otherwise I'm not sure I'll have time to finish the run before the end of the tournament, unfortunately. It's quite a busy week. So if I'm going to take a God, on a Wanderer, a Null Wanderer, it would have to be a Faded Altar, right? It's the only thing that makes sense. I think I will for on stream here today. If we want to do a no God at some point in the future, what I might do for something like that is take this entire idea or mentality to the extreme and try and play like some deep dwarfs that I can just hold down tab, set my health threshold to ridiculously low for that auto fight, and then just try and rush through, happily dying whenever unfortunate, even slightly unlucky rolls come up, and just wait until I get lucky enough, because that's oftentimes a good way to get some of those banners. Is just a sheer probability numbers game. So let's do it. I like Faded Altars. It's always a bit of fun. And we get Ashen Zari, which is awesome. So we don't have to worry quite as much about the identification game, which is always good for me. Okie dokie. So when do we... That's like the first ability we gain, right? It is. So let's just wait until we get offered a curse here. Can potentially just curse like the helmet to our head. That's a pretty safe one. I guess I mentioned explicitly that I really like Okawaru with Knolls, but Ashen Zari is probably one of the strongest contenders for synergizing with Knolls, because you can just kind of shake up the variety of curses you get to kind of fit whatever the run hands to you, and you're always going to be in a pretty solid spot here. Now we need to worry about skills again, just a little bit, so that's all good. Okie dokie, so ranged combat, I mean, obviously kind of fits with what we have going here. Armor and shields is not bad either. Just in general, I kind of enjoy getting defensive capabilities. In terms of just wanting our first curse here, it's going to go on a helmet that will most likely end up breaking at some point later on down the line. I'll definitely gladly take that for the time being here. So let's try it out. Hey Brain, thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate it a lot. 8 months is absolutely wild. Hope you're having a fantastic week though. Thank you so much for showing up and for the support as well. I greatly appreciate it. And okie dokie. Funnily enough, ranged characters are a pretty good contender in general for playing quickly, if just because once we get to a comfortable point here, we'll most likely just become a Gatling gun turret, just launching off our various projectiles. So looking forward to that. Proud to support me, Gem of a stream. Thank you so much, Brain. I appreciate it a lot. I think the same of your streams. Absolutely fantastic content. Makes me wish that I spent a bit more time on Twitch in my spare time. I'd get to see your wonderful streams more often as well, but thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this is just the floor of adders. Absolutely stocked to the brim. Fortunately, our sling is enough to take most of them out. We should actually, before I use up all the sling bullets, switch back to stones. And can try this one out for size instead. Dang it, Natasha. Didn't really want to see you. If we manage to get this character to a good spot, i.e. if we're even winning the game, then maybe we'll kill Natasha for the unique harvesting benefit. Until then, though, I'd rather not compromise my morals, and let's just leave our lovely cat friend alive And we'll just keep it moving down the floor for now. Not missing out on exploring too much of D3 there, so we should be okay in the long run. Hello, my Knoll pals. Aren't we cool? Come on, same team. Same team. Oh no. Con net is not exactly ideal. Hopefully there's nothing waiting for us at the top of the stairs either. Fantastic. Unexplored stairs, generally not the best place to run away from your problems, but it is what it is. Ooh, we never found a third stair, unfortunately. That's too bad. Your turning game crashed and burned on Slime 5. You're pretty sad. Oh, I'm sorry to hear it. That really is a rough one. When you get to that stage, getting your third rune, and that's where stuff hits the fan. Definitely have a huge amount of sympathy for that. Oh, let's not walk towards Sigmundus here. In fact, probably just leave for now, though I do want to be cognizant of the fact that I want that falchion. So I could risk going down this stairwell, hope that we can kind of sneak around. Just barely, as long as you don't confuse us. Let's take a look. +6 Venom with the Dex bonus. That's pretty spectacular. Now I'm gonna run some risky pathing here and just try and loop around. We're hoping not to run into more enemies, and we definitely got very lucky in that regard. Fantastic. That means we can immediately here switch this falchion over to being our backup option. That should do some absolute wonders for us moving forward. Let's see what else we can find. Lurking, it's Gloomhaven time. Sounds good. I hope your Gloomhaven goes well. Best of luck in your quests and missions on that side of things. Thank you so much for dropping by, Brain. I appreciate it. Oops. So we had our falchion enabled there. Let's definitely switch over to this buddy. I guess from afar we could try and kill Sigmund. 30 health is a bit rough for my money though, so probably will just play it safe here. Let's get the heck out. And ooh, we actually had an unexplored stairwell, so this might bring us somewhere slightly more conducive. Not a fantastic start, getting a little bit cornered, but managed to take them out, so that's great. We did find a ring of willpower. In fact, I should probably put that on, right? Another bad habit I have, not only do I never identify things at an appropriate time, I also will constantly pick up rings and necklaces, and in the first like 6 floors of the game, not notice whatsoever. But definitely will help us out, yeah, if Sigmund drops a unfortunately timed confuse on us, we'll do absolute wonders. Let us try and sneak by Natasha here real quick. Perfect. Now, do I feel comfortable fighting these gnolls under any circumstances? We do have a +6 falchion. We have decent range capabilities too, if we're able to take them out before they get to us. Or, you know, if they've managed to split themselves into groups of 1, that works too. Can't complain. Hello, my like-specied friend. I mean, I don't know why we can't just all get along. We're all same team here, but it is what it is. Ooh, and that is an early Steam Dragon. We have no resistance to fire, which means the Steam is going to hurt exceptionally bad. Almost able to one-shot us right off the bat here. 3d10 at 37 health. Not great. Natasha has 3 lives, isn't killing them once or twice fine. It is for sure, and in fact, even with my weird morality rules thrown into the mix, I still have been forced in the past to kill Natasha. I think a couple times, once even, just because there was no escape and it was becoming untenable to my own continued survival. So if necessary, we can try it out. I don't know if that counts towards the unique harvesting banner, if we focus more on the tournament side of things. Just because I feel on instinctual level that it's the final kill message that will actually signify that moment. But it'd be funny if not, because then I can guilt-free get the banner. And wouldn't that be nice? Okie dokie. Just going to keep moving for the time being here. Guess, oh, we do need another curse in order to get the first of our advantages here. So self and companions. Companions is summoning and something. Summoning and necromancy, that makes sense. And fighting and spellcasting, both huge boons to get for a null. Summoning and necromancy, not so much. I probably won't use those. So I'm tempted to let this one wait. But what we can do, oops, not trying to cast, is see what we have available for cursing. Because we could just curse our cloak, just trying to get that early piety bump, and needing to explode it at some point, not a huge deal. We'll almost definitely find a better cloak at some stage in our journey. But it's also not a rush to get rid of early on, so I think that's a nice mix. And let's do it just to get all of our things ID'd real quick. That will be a huge advantage moving forward. 2 brand weapon scrolls. Interesting. If I didn't have an artifact currently in use, that would be a wild find for this early on in a run. Potions, we don't have curing or heal wounds. That's definitely good to know. You think the first kill counts for unique harvesting? Interesting. So we might have to try that at some point in this run. We'll see. For now, let's just get back on the road. At some point, the rest of this null pack is going to show up. I'm hoping that the, what are they even called? The Steam Dragon. There we go. All I could think of was smoke, fog. I knew these were not the right words, but the Steam Dragon, I'm hoping won't wake up over the rest of our short stay on this floor of the dungeon. Because that is just absolutely terrifying. An ogre, though, should be manageable, and they indeed are. Even find our first heal wounds potion. Fantastic stuff. And that should pretty much be the floor, I believe. Yeah, do you know what? Let's just head down from there. The rest is just filling out the tiny little corners here or there. Not super necessary. My ogre pal, let's just poison you up a bit. Good stuff. Ooh, and we get beguiling and ranged combat. I mean, ranged combat again, not too bad. Put on a replaceable item. PD boost is good. Exactly, yeah. That's why no problem putting it on the cloak. Also, another artifact falchion. What the heck is even that? Nulls have lots of replaceable items. Right, to a certain extent. The important thing that I do like to keep in mind is that certain slots we might want to have open for constant switching. It's harder, or it's a bit harder to justify binding a weapon to yourself, especially if it's something that you might want to be able to switch back and forth from in the future. But that aside, we definitely have a lot of different things that we can use as temporary little stop measures here. And it is a +7 falchion, so it is better than our current. Resistance to poison is pretty nice. I mean, no matter what, I'm picking you up. Don't know if I'll use you. I kind of like the Venom brand in the early game here. At some point, we'll want to make the transition. Vorpal definitely gets a lot better than poison after a certain stage. But until then, I do like being able to poison my foes. Let's take a look at this curse before I completely forget that side as well. Beguiling is conjurations, hexes, and translocations. I mean, translocations could definitely see ourselves using those in the future, especially something like Manifold Assault could be really huge on this character. And of course, slings, blows, crossbows, and throwing, super nice. Especially something like throwing, because that doesn't clash directly with our desire to curse a weapon at some point, and instead can kind of use that throughout the entirety of a run. So, what could we curse? I guess the +2 buckler is probably sticking around at least for the foreseeable future here, unless we just happen across something incredible. Ring of Willpower could also just be bound to us for the time being. We'll only really want to get rid of it if we find a better, different, and much better source of the same kind of ego. Let's start with the buckler, shall we? The last kind of factor to always keep in mind when choosing what to curse is if it's something that you might want to enchant yourself using scrolls, then definitely hold off for the time being and just plop the curse on once it gets up to snuff. I think we're going to switch over to Scale Mail. We're not casting any spells right now. Could use the extra AC. Yeah, that's definitely for the best, I feel. And let's just keep going. A lot of ogres. I mean, it works out fine on this character. We actually kind of do okay against these buddies. Free experience and all that good stuff. Are we a null now? Hell yeah. No, definitely, yeah, one of my favorites in the entire game. And not only are we a null, but we also lucked out in a variety of ways here, both in the weapon that we found, even the god that we got from the Fated Altar. So Null of Ash is a pleasure to see, to say the least. It's definitely Poison You, that should be extremely effective. It's super effective. And perfect. Let's see, we're already down to D5, definitely going faster than a lot of the like low health spellcaster characters that we've been playing in the main series on the channel here. It's nice sometimes to get in the occasional tab fest, just to, you know, give that tab key a good workout. Well, on the flip side, also giving my brain a chance to just shut down to a certain extent. I'm still very worried at find myself in a similar situation to where we put our last character, of course. So that's something to keep in mind. And we got a pretty ridiculous artifact ring. It has Drain on it, but that's not a huge price to pay to get poison resistance, all 3 pips of cold resistance, corrosion resistance, and Dex +6 is a decent chunk of evasion as well. So I gotta say we'll probably be putting that bad boy on. And if we get a good curse, let's see, range and fortitude, is this a good enough curse? Range combat is kind of our jam right now. A bit less so now that we have these artifact falchions that we're putting to decent use, but still nice for sure. And defensive skills, I mean, I can't really say no, you know? So no matter what, we'll curse something, but the question becomes, do I want to curse this fantastic ring that we just found? Bring it on as a bit more of a permanent companion for the majority of our trip through the dungeon, most likely? Or something else that we picked up along the way. Ranged and fortitude are the 2 categories of this curse. Because it becomes a bit more of a question in my mind of how good are those curse enchantments, because if we're putting it on this artifact ring, it's going to be there for the foreseeable future. You don't get drained if you curse and destroy it, right? I don't think so, because I don't know if it counts as taking it off. I've never actually done that. It's a bit of an interesting use case. I mean, we gotta curse it at some point just for the science, to see if we can get to the bottom of this mystery. And you know what? I think I do like range and fortitude enough to keep that around on a bit more of a permanent basis. Let's get the extra PD power, get that buddy going. More spells, eh? Unfortunately, nothing too huge. I mean, swiftness, we might end up casting in the future if we're able to in whatever armor we end up in. But something like Manifold Assault is where I'd truly kind of make an exception. And try and make sure that we fit it into our build one way or another in the future. Okay, let's just take a couple of you upstairs for now, and we'll be slightly cheesy with this. In fact, Null, Sergeant, what are you using? Spear of Flaming? Oh, okay, that's not too scary. Venom or Dislocation would have been a terrible situation for everyone involved, but that is much more manageable. And we really might as well be using this sling to get some early hits down on our enemies. Pretty much no reason not to, and then we can clean up at the end of the day with the falchion instead. That should work out quite nicely. My scorpion pal, goodbye. And onwards we go. I mean, anytime I see stone walls these days, I am concerned. I was slightly worried that there are going to be some ridiculous out-of-depth monsters awaiting us. And I mean, it's less than ideal so far. Nothing too sketchy though. We'll keep fighting. I'm glad we did. Fantastic. Okay, they're behind a glass wall. We're totally safe, game. You don't have to stop me from picking up my stones. In this situation specifically. And again, I guess we'll just go for some manual movement, make sure that we are getting in around here. And beautiful. Ooh, Wraith is actually slightly scarier than I'm giving it credit for. I guess the red border should have been maybe a bit more of an indication. You do be hurting, hey friend. Thought we'd be performing slightly better than this. Do we have any options at our disposal? Ice Blast, not going to be a huge advantage. We take a look at our potions. We do have 1 heal wounds. We do have a Berserk Rage if we want to just risk it all immediately. It's likely that we kill you if we're Berserk. But always a little bit of a dangerous startup here. Manifold Assault is one of those starting spells that remains relevant for a 3-rune game. Definitely. I love Manifold Assault so much. So fun. And yeah, the red name, the red box around our Wraith pal should have given me a bit more of an indication. But I think we should be fine to kill you regardless here. In fact, I am going to risk it. Because I think we just kill you in a couple hits, and we do in fact manage to do so. Slightly riskier again than necessary. If things had gone poorly, we no longer had our potions at our disposal, specifically the single heal wounds that we have in our bag. But all is well that ends well, and I would rather save that heal wounds if possible for the next dangerous situation, maybe one where we can afford even less to take that route. So we get another curse offer, poison magic and transmutations, summoning and necromancy. I mean, I do kind of want some spell schools under the umbrella of Ashinzari curses, but I don't know about those spell schools. Not to be too picky or anything. Let's maybe take a look. I mean, we have gone some poison. You know, not as much poison as I initially suspected. So I think this will be the first curse that we wait to just turn over. And we'll see what we get out of it. I guess the slow didn't last quite as long as I would have liked, but we do manage to poison the snake, much as they poisoned us. So that's always a pretty sweet turnaround. Little play of fate, karmic retribution for all the hurt and pain that these poison monsters inflict on us in general in the game here. And a bunch of orcs should be pretty straightforward. I'm maybe tabbing slightly quicker than is appropriate, but it seems like we'll be okay here. Fantastic. Enfeeble is a nice spell. Okay, then there might be a good excuse for us to try it out, because I still haven't tried out Enfeeble, so I'm definitely curious as to what we can come to expect out of it. I think I will pick up the Chainmail, even though we're talking and thinking about spells, there's not a huge rush on them. So for the time being here, I'm just going to try and get some more AC. Sacrificing a bit of evasion to do so, and that is kind of our strong suit, but should be okay in the long run. Actually, I didn't realize quite how low our strength was. With 9 strength, can I even really be affording to wear chainmail? Not so much. It is pretty heavy. Even the scale mail is pushing it a little bit. So maybe we will scratch everything that I was saying a moment ago. Let's switch back to scale mail for now. It's a bit better of a balance point between evasion and AC. Let's just hope that we find something nicely enchanted that's a little bit on the lighter side so that we can potentially take full advantage of just how high our dexterity is so far. Hello, my Sky Beast friend. If you could come this way, fantastic. You know what, Priest, we should just be able to kill you from afar with a sling, and we do in fact manage to do so. Perfect. You have a vampiric dagger. Huh, how about that? Also, server, are you okay? Can see you're struggling a little bit. It's fair enough at the very least. Well, let's bring these wargs upstairs just in case this cascade of enemies, the complete parade of foes coming down doesn't stop. Which of course it does end up immediately stopping, just to make sure that we're never 100% right about anything, but that's A-okay. And we get Curse of Range Combat and Cunning. So this will have range combat. I think Cunning has dodge in it, dodge and stealth. So could definitely think about taking this curse on. It might be worth it here. Let's see what equipment options we have available. Like, even throwing this on our scale mail just as a temporary measure seems alright to me. Does vampiric healing work for stab bonus damage? I would assume so. I think it is just a percentile, so I don't see why not. It's a little bit harder to maybe put into action, but with something like a Petrify spell or some other hex maybe, Ensorcelled Hibernation, that would be a funny way to just quickly spike up your healing. Just put something to sleep or petrify it, and then get in those devilish vampiric backstabs. But you know what? Let's enchant our scale mail. Gives it some staying power for the very near future, even though most likely we'll be swapping away from it relatively soon. See, there's a hornet nearby. We at least have resistance to poison, but a hornet is still potentially a frightening foe. So we'll have to think about that one. An electric eel. Excuse me. Multiple electric eels. Okay, well in that case, let me just do one of these and one of these. Just for now. We'll play it a little bit safer and probably end up coming back regardless. But that works for me. Do you know what? I guess Hornet. Let's dance, you and I. We do have a poison weapon, so that should be extremely effective. And it is indeed super effective. Fantastic. And Howler Monkeys should be just fine and dandy. And more poison enemies, of course. Still ones that are susceptible to poison, which is nice. And we do have resistance on our end of the equation, so that works out. Oh, excuse me, my frog friend. You come back. There you are. Hello, sir. Goodbye. There we go. Electric eels lose health every turn they are on the ground. Right, so if you have some way of getting them onto ground, that definitely makes for an interesting play. Unfortunately, it's a little bit harder in practice. I guess that's where something like Nell's Gravitas, or even, would a Potion of Attraction pull an enemy from water? I don't have enough experience. The majority of time that I've used the Potion of Attraction, I've ended up regretting it immensely and almost get myself killed. Speaking of regretting immensely, I did make a very silly mistake in my movement here. Bringing our two-headed friend right next to us. I'm hoping to use some quicker little buddies like this to just sneak in front of the two-headed ogre so we can run away safely. Maybe find a different stairwell to explore for now. Oh no. Well, not exactly what I was hoping for. And now this one is scary as heck. Or confused also for getting the heals on the ground. That makes a lot of sense, yeah. Bit of cloud or anything like that. It'd be fun if we had some kind of harpoon shot. Like similar to either Swamp Worms or Herald, I think. But it is what it is. Let's just read a new book for no reason whatsoever. I'm hoping that just you notice me, Electric Eel friend. If I can fight you one at a time, then you're saying there's a chance. Not bad. Come here, please. Perfect. Back, we probably get rid of the exclusions now, seeing as how we've taken care of the majority of the threats that initially necessitated putting it down. It's not over yet. I don't mind losing a few stones to deep water. We have a decent little backlog supply here. Let's not risk too much though. What are you? Oh, butterfly from Zom. Let's not accidentally kill a butterfly today. It's been happening so much lately and you just don't deserve it. Even less so than Natasha. Natasha is at least trying to actively kill me, so it feels slightly justified, but a poor innocent butterfly just taking something beautiful just to destroy it? That's not very cool. Hello, my white friend. Goodbye. Fortunately, we're finally on a character that isn't quite as deathly afraid of the earthly white packs. Seeing as how we're not relying on elemental damage like so many of my characters are. You always use flame wands on eels. Steam is strong on them. Very true, and it has the added benefit of mixing up the blocking of line of sight with extra damage output. It's hard to get much better than that. Oh, let's see. What could I do with you two-headed ogre? We have some teleport, so I guess I could, if I wanted, go with like Zom's chess piece, see what happens. We petrified the zombie howler monkey. Let's try again with just the ogre in sight. Oh my gosh. Oh, no, you woke up way faster than I expected. Sorry, I apologize. Don't mind me. Excuse me, pardon me. Whoopsie daisies. I mean, this loop should now be slightly less active in terms of enemies. So we can start just bringing ourselves around. I'm hoping to random energy and get a step up on our new friend here. Unfortunately, the moment I started rushing again, we fell into a little bit of an issue here. Oh my gosh. We had the random energy and we lost it just in time to not be able to make it up the stairs. Oh no. Please, ogre. Please, leave me alone. Oh my gosh, you keep doing it. There we go. Run away. Oh boy. Go back to the only stair I know safe. I know is safe, I should say. And I guess let's try this one more time. I don't want to make a new ogre friend, unless maybe if I spam the chess piece in advance, make sure we have the room this time to actually get away in one piece if things go horribly wrong. Definitely would work out for me. Did you drink a haste potion, my friend? I don't think brigands can haste themselves, so you drank a haste potion, you son of a gun. I kinda need those. No, oh, they'll fire through the plant, right? That makes sense. Exceptionally rude of them, of course, but it is what it is. We unfortunately don't have a flame wand for ourselves yet, so this is gonna be the only real recourse we have. Please kill one of them. There we go. In a very slow but steady battle of attrition, we'll come out on top at the very least. Oh, less so if the ogre decides it's time to join. Chess piece, we slowed you. That's an okay start. Switch over to our fancy sling bullets. I'm tempted to try another chess piece thing now, but instead let's just make sure we're using the slow to full advantage, getting a bunch of space, and we should be able to kill you before you close the gap. Fantastic. Absolutely lovely.